My classmates had been shipping me and Luke Dawson for 2 years. On the afternoon after the college entrance exam, I finally mustered all my courage to confess my feelings to him. But around the corner, I overheard him say, "I don't like Jennifer. We're not even friends." Heartbroken, I changed my college plans. Years later, when we met again, someone asked why we never got together. Luke's eyes reddened as he drank, because I've had a one-sided crush on her for 10 years. That afternoon, after the exam, I used up every ounce of courage I had built over 18 years and went looking for Luke to confess. As I reached the corner of the classroom, I heard him talking to someone. "You really don't like Jennifer Delaney?" I was Jennifer. Luke, sounding unusually impatient, replied, "Why would I like her? But you two are always so close. I thought you were planning to confess to her tonight." "Close? Please. My mom asked me to look after her. We're not even friends. His mother was our homeroom teacher." The other person reminded him again, "You better make things clear with her." "Yeah, after the exam. I'm going to talk to her later." Leaning against the wall, my heart sank. For the past 3 years, he had brought me breakfast, helped with class duties, tutored me, offered me rides home even though we lived on opposite sides of the city, always making sure I got home safe before leaving himself. Since junior year, our classmates had been shipping us, giving us nicknames, Luke's Jennifer and Jennifer's Luke. He never denied it. Just a few days ago, he had even crossed half the city to get me some old brand pastries and rice dumplings, symbolic of graduating high school. Everyone said his feelings for me were obvious, and I wholeheartedly believed it. If I hadn't heard him say those words just now, I never would have believed he didn't like me. And to think he even said we weren't friends at all. My legs felt weak as I walked downstairs. Standing in front of the academic building, I looked up at the classroom one last time. This time, it wasn't just about love. It was mostly regret. That night, Luke texted and asked to meet. I didn't want to hear a second version of what I'd overheard. I declined, replying, "Luke, thank you for everything you've done for me these past 3 years. I truly appreciate it. But besides the friendship we share as classmates, I have no other feelings for you. I'm saying this so no one has to feel burdened. Wishing you all the best in the future." His side showed typing for a long while. Eventually, he replied, "Got it." I blocked him on every platform. A large chunk of my heart went hollow, and I knew it would take a long time to heal. I didn't apply to the college Luke and I had originally agreed on. Instead, I chose a comparable university down south. I went south, he went north, and we went our separate ways. A few months later, my friend Kristen gossiped. Serves him right. The girl Luke liked turned him down too. He asked her out and she didn't even show. I felt a mix of schadenfreude and sadness. Guess we're both in the same boat. Kristen scoffed. Same boat, my ass. He doesn't deserve it. I just smiled and said nothing. Time would fade everything. The next time I saw Luke was over a year later when he came to my university city for a debate competition. When I saw his familiar face among the opposing team, I froze for a second. I hated myself for still feeling shaken after so long. I took a moment to pull myself together, steadying my voice before I spoke. Toward the end, we debated fiercely on the bonus topic, secret crushes. He argued, if you like someone, you should say it. Respect your feelings. Love should be spontaneous, not hidden. Better to express and have no regrets than to stay silent and miss your chance. I countered, if you choose to have a secret crush, then you keep it secret. That's what a crush is, loving someone quietly. Speaking out may only make things awkward and ruin even the friendship, leaving both sides hurt. The room went silent for a moment. He didn't respond. I glanced over and caught a look in his eyes that I couldn't quite read. So, did I bother you back then? The audience burst out laughing, calling him a master of wordplay. But only I knew he was twisting things. The one who felt bothered had always been him. He was the one who ultimately chose to end the friendship. I couldn't let him wear me down any longer. Furious, I glared at him. Yes. He pressed his lips together, his eyes filled with something between sorrow and frustration. After a pause, he nodded slightly, his head dropping. A strange feeling welled up inside me, somewhere between pity and triumph. After the competition, he waited for me outside. Jennifer. His face carried a faint sadness, as if he wanted to say more but couldn't. In the end, he simply said, "Goodbye." I walked away quickly, down the steps. Before dinner, a younger classmate called. "Hey, some of the high school alumni who came for the debate competition organized a little get-together. They asked me to invite you, said you absolutely have to come." I wanted to decline, but after thinking it over, I decided to go. As expected, Luke was there too. He had always been a star back in high school, known by students across multiple grades. The moment I entered the private room, I saw a crowd gathered around him. Someone teased, "You're studying medicine and still crashing law school debates. Give the others a chance to eat." Luke slowly raised his eyes and glanced my way. He answered coolly, "This will be my last one." A junior pouted, "Oh, don't say that. We'd love to have you here more often. I remember you used to say you loved the South. So why did you end up going north for college?" Everyone knew about his love for the South from his award-winning essay. It was clear from his writing that his feelings ran deep. Later, when he asked me where I wanted to go to college, I said, "I love snow and history. I want to go to Beijing." The very next day, he gathered information on several top universities in Beijing. Then, "These are our targets. Jennifer, you'd better work hard." I was surprised. "I thought you liked the South." His eyes sparkled as he playfully replied, "Well, dreams can change." After that, whenever people asked, he would say, "Actually, I like the North too." But who would have thought those sweet words were only because his mother asked him to look after me? Honestly, I never quite understood why my grades were good, but not so exceptional that they'd warrant his mum's special attention. Just like Kristen once said, Luke did like you, but later changed his mind and used his mum as an excuse. That explanation made sense to me. Luke stayed silent, not answering the junior's question before someone else chimed in. "Back when you and Jennifer were rumored to be a couple, I even bet money you'd both end up at the same university. Turns out one of you went south, the other north, thousands of miles apart. I lost quite a bit on that bet." The gossipers pressed on. "So, seriously, nothing ever happened between you two?" Caught off guard, I didn't respond right away. Instead, I looked at Luke. I didn't know what I was expecting, or why I still hadn't given up. Luke kept his eyes fixed on his glass, saying nothing. Finally, he downed his drink in one gulp. Somehow that made me angry. I sneered. "We were just ordinary classmates. Everyone else was just making a fuss." The person sighed. "You two looked perfect together." "Such a shame," someone else joked. "Well, since you're both single, that leaves the door open for the rest of us." I smiled without saying anything. Luke poured himself another drink. Whether he was drunk or deliberately mocking me, I didn't know. He said, "Jennifer wouldn't be interested in someone like me." My anger flared instantly. Once again, his twisting of the truth infuriated me. The one who wasn't interested had always been him. I took a deep breath and downed 3 shots in a row, snapping, "You really missed your calling in law school." Still fuming, I added, "Of course I wouldn't like you. It's not like 3-legged toads are easy to find anyway." After that, I stormed out and called Kristen to vent. "He's despicable. I've never met anyone so shameless." I told Kristen everything that had happened that day. She was furious on the other end. "He's such a hypocrite doing all that, and then pinning it on you. If I ever run into him, I swear I'll beat him up." Honestly, I was more hurt than angry. It was fine if he didn't like me, And even if he had said so to my face, I could have accepted it. But twisting the truth over and over while acting like I'd wronged him, it was too much. The more I thought about it, the angrier and more bitter I felt. Coupled with the alcohol, I burst into tears. I really hate Luke. I never want to see him again. Kristen kept trying to comfort me. As I wiped my tears, I noticed a shadow on the wall. I turned around and saw Luke standing behind me, his hand frozen mid-air, holding out a tissue. His eyes were misty too. After a moment, he said softly, "Sorry to interrupt." I wanted so badly to ask, "Luke, did you ever like me?" But I couldn't bring myself to say it. I had heard the answer once already. Why hurt my own pride again? I got up and headed back to campus, with him following behind. "You're a little drunk. As a classmate, I should see you back safely." I couldn't be bothered to argue and let him follow. I was stumbling the whole way, and each time he reached out to steady me, I could sense his nervousness, which oddly gave me a fleeting sense of satisfaction. But the memory of him saying, "We're not even friends," still made me furious. "Luke, don't fall for me. I'll never like you." He paused briefly before quietly steadying me. "Don't worry." Those words drenched me in cold water again. I was such a mess, wanting to stop loving him, but unable to let go. Later, I started dating someone else, a senior in my department named Jason Smith. Jason had pursued me relentlessly for almost a year. At first, I was indifferent. As they say, when you meet someone too dazzling in your youth, everyone else afterwards seems a little lacking. I was being selfish when I agreed to date Jason. I wanted to use him to forget Luke. Before we got together, I told Jason honestly. There was someone I really liked in high school. I still haven't completely moved on. Jason cut me off. "The only way for the old to fade is for the new to enter. Let's give it a try. If it doesn't work out, we'll part ways. At least, you're giving me a fair chance." "All right, let's try." Jason was impeccable picking out fish bones for me, preparing ice when I ate spicy food, bringing me brown sugar, tea, and heating pads for my period. He was thoughtful in every detail. But when he tried to kiss me, I panicked. Luke's face kept flashing in my mind. I tried, but I couldn't do it. Even with my eyes closed, all I could picture was Luke. "I'm sorry." Jason left, disappointed. It happened several times. I started to feel guilty and didn't want to hold him back any longer. I brought him a gift, intending to break up. Sensing something, Jason put on a cheerful face and accepted the gift. He even said generously, "I know you're not ready. Take your time." My resolve softened, and the words I meant to say got stuck in my throat again. My birthday fell on a Monday, so Jason suggested celebrating early that Saturday. I didn't object. He booked a private room at a restaurant. Since I didn't have many friends, he consulted me before inviting some of his own friends to liven things up. After a few rounds of drinks, one of his friends, already tipsy, patted Jason on the shoulder and spoke with conviction. "You've got to seal the deal with this icy beauty tonight. You've been holding out long enough, all for this one night." Another added, "You bragged to us that you'd have her in bed after 1 month. It's been 2 months already." That's when I realized he had been pursuing me on a bet. He couldn't stand my aloofness and wanted to bring me down a notch. The people around him quickly tried to shut the drunk up and dragged him out. Others quietly left the room. Jason lowered his head and apologized. "I'm sorry. I did say those things, but I didn't mean them. I really do like you." I didn't have the energy to figure out whether he was telling the truth. Inside, I simply felt relieved. "I'm sorry. I don't think I like you enough. Let's part ways on good terms. Goodbye." I left the private room with a lightness in my step, as if I'd finally broken free from heavy chains. The guilt that had weighed on me for 2 months evaporated. Suddenly, it all made sense. Feelings can't be forced, whether it's forcing myself to forget or forcing myself to love. Jason chased after me. "I just want to know, how do I compare to the guy you liked in high school?" He was good looking, from a wealthy family, but compared to Luke, to me, it was worlds apart. there was nothing I could do. That was my obsession with Luke. All the good things he'd done for me always seemed to overshadow the hurt he caused. The difference is I can apologize to you, but not to him, because I truly loved him. There was no sense of guilt to make up for. Jason nodded and left quietly. On my actual birthday, someone came to find me, saying a guy was waiting for me outside campus. I figured it was Jason. He had been trying to win me back these past couple of days. I didn't go see him. He sent a beautiful gift box through that person. I asked them to return it with a message. Tell him to stop bothering me. I don't have that much patience. No need to make things awkward. We may run into each other again someday. Jason really didn't bother me anymore. He soon started dating a new girlfriend, and we parted ways peacefully. After all, when we first got together, neither of us had pure intentions. On Christmas Day, I managed to snag an action figure online that Luke had always wanted. I planned to send it to him anonymously. But then, in our high school group chat, I found out from his buddy Benjamin that Luke had a girlfriend. Benjamin posted a photo of the two of them together. The girl was beautiful, and Luke was as handsome as ever. They looked like the perfect couple. Everyone sent their blessings. I stared at the photo in a daze, only snapping out of it when Kristen messaged me. She asked, "You okay?" I wasn't really okay, but not terrible either. I replied stubbornly, "It's been over 2 years since high school. Am I really still hung up on him? Am I stupid? Or is he just that charming?" When I didn't hear back from Kristen, I realized I had accidentally sent the message to the whole group. The chat, which had just been lively with endless happily ever afters, instantly fell silent. My heart pounded with panic as I sat there regretting what I'd done, unsure of how to fix it. Then Benjamin sent a partial voice message to the group. "Jennifer, I've tolerated you for a long, long time. Don't think I won't curse at a girl." No one ever heard the rest. His recording was cut off. I knew he was standing up for Luke, and I admitted my words were out of line, but not enough to deserve his hatred. "I'm sorry. I was out of line. I wish Luke happiness." Another short 3-second voice message came through. Amid the sound of scuffling, Benjamin finally texted, "Just kidding earlier." After that, the group became active again. Some people asked for the name of Luke's girlfriend. Others joked about bringing her home for the new year. I quietly exited the group chat. Kristen called me, furious. "Damn it, I take a shower and you get bullied. Let me at Benjamin. The two of them together are no match for me, and they dare mess with my friend." It took a lot of coaxing to calm her down. Less drama was better. Honestly, I was just thin-skinned. I was terrified she might get too worked up and spill my years-long lingering feelings for Luke. The mockery would be unbearable. Kristen reluctantly agreed to let it go. A few minutes later, Benjamin posted on his moments a very ugly dog photo with the caption, "A simp that can't be helped." I felt a bit weird reading it. It didn't quite match the situation, but after brooding for a while, I reassured myself I was overthinking. In the end, I never sent the gift. As for Luke, I stopped probing for news about him. To say I'd forgotten him wouldn't be true either. Maybe, like netizens say, the power of a first love lingers. Even seeing him again wouldn't change that. He still lived in my heart. Later, Kristen would often ask, "When will you finally get over Luke?" Honestly, I wanted to know that more than anyone. But love seems to always have a mind of its own, like the twilight breeze, the midnight moon, the lingering melancholy of yesterday, so natural yet so hard to grasp. After graduating from college, I applied for graduate school abroad. Before I left, I heard that our old homeroom teacher, Luke's mom, was hospitalized with some health issues. I brought some fruit to visit. The teacher was delighted to see me, just as kind as years ago. She warmly invited me to sit. "Jennifer, thank you for coming to see me. I have so many secrets to tell you." Curious, I leaned in. "Please go ahead, teacher." She held my hand and asked, "You've graduated, right? Any job plans?" I shook my head. "Not yet. I got into a graduate program overseas, and I'm leaving tonight. I saw a slight change in her expression, but after a moment, she pulled herself together and encouraged me. Good for you. Academics come first. You've always been such a steady child. I wish you great success. Thank you, teacher. A while later, still no secrets revealed, I asked tentatively, Teacher, what about those secrets? I've been so curious. She laughed and teased. I'll tell you when you return with your degree. If you move abroad for good, you may never find out. She wasn't Kristen. I couldn't argue with her, but inside, I was itching. I didn't see Luke. I hesitated, but the teacher saw right through me. Luke took his grandma home. He'll be back in a while. Embarrassed that my feelings were exposed, I grew restless but didn't want to leave. I forced small talk with the teacher for another 20 minutes. Still no sign of Luke, and I couldn't wait any longer. As I stood to leave, the teacher asked, What time is your flight tonight? I had to admit I was hoping for something. I told her my exact departure time. Well then, safe travels and best wishes. Thank you, teacher. I wish you a speedy recovery. Goodbye. Feeling disappointed, I left the hospital. My mom had packed my luggage 2 days earlier. I met up with Kristen for hot pot and bubble tea, killing the afternoon before heading to the airport. After clearing security, I was seized by a strange urge to look back, and there he was, standing just beyond the barrier, that familiar yet slightly unfamiliar figure. My eyes instantly filled with tears. I had so much to say but didn't know how to start. In the end, I simply nodded at him. He waved back. In that moment, it felt like all our petty grievances and deeply rooted emotions over the years simply vanished. I wanted so badly to hug him and say a proper goodbye. I unblocked Luke's contact. Aside from occasionally checking in on his mother's health, we had no further communication. Life abroad was dull. I often missed my family, friends, and the food back home. I frequently posted rants on social media, always adding my address. Pity this poor kid. Someone send me some braised pork with preserved vegetables. I'm dying for some beef sauce. Craving jujubes, anyone? Kristen gritted her teeth and replied, Quit whining. I'll mail you some. I thought she was joking, but to my surprise, I actually received a package. She even included a letter telling me everything was handmade and had to be eaten quickly. I was overjoyed and opened WeChat to thank her, only to see she had posted her preserved vegetables in our high school group chat. What she made for them looked way better than what she sent me. I jokingly messaged, Wow, so I only deserve the defective batch while everyone else gets the good stuff. Before Kristen could reply, Benjamin jumped in again. I've had enough of you. Jennifer, if you don't want it, just send it back. She used the hands she holds scalpels with to make all this after several sleepless nights, and you can't even say thanks? Unbelievable. I froze for a moment, my heart pounding wildly. I replayed Benjamin's voice message twice to make sure he had said Luke's name. I dialed the number I'd memorized for years. The ringtone hadn't changed. The amber dusk is like sugar in the beautiful distance. Your bare face, and yet I fell madly in love. My longing stretches with the shadows at twilight. I remembered that early summer, years ago, after gym class. I had just washed my face and was wiping the water off with my sleeve when I saw Luke standing nearby, his gaze intense. Jennifer. You look beautiful. His voice sounded surreal in my ears, and my heart flushed with warmth. I actually wanted to say that the sunlight that afternoon outlined him perfectly, making him look like a handsome lead straight out of a manga. But in the end, I blushed and ran off without saying anything. That was also the day people started shipping me and Luke. I went from being shy to gradually getting used to being called Luke's Jennifer. It only took a few months to fall for him, but it's taken years, and who knows how many more to forget. The ringtone kept ringing, but Luke didn't answer. When I checked back in the group chat, Kristen and Benjamin were already arguing. Kristen, damn it, Benjamin. I've tolerated you more than once. Why are you, a grown man, so petty? A few jokes and you explode. Who said anything about you, Benjamin? Benjamin angrily sent a voice message. "Ha! Birds of a feather. Don't pretend you two don't know what you've done. Should I list it all out for the whole class?" Kristen was even angrier, roaring back, "Cut the passive-aggressive crap. If you've got something to say, spit it out." Their argument quickly derailed into personal attacks. They started calling each other names, exposing each other's embarrassing high school stories, while the whole group watched like a live show. When they paused, someone even egged them on. "Loving this, keep going," Benjamin said. "If I'd known, I wouldn't have bought you pads back then," Kristen shot back. "And I brought you toilet paper when you ran out in the men's room, did I complain? I told you when your bra strap slipped. I lent you my jacket when your pants ripped. You called the geography teacher bucktooth freak. You give me back my buns." Finally, Luke stepped in to stop them, and they both went silent. Luke called me back and half joked, "It's not as dramatic as Benjamin made it sound." I was just curious about how those things were made, so I gave it a try. Don't let something this small make things awkward between us. The second half of his sentence sounded so familiar, but I couldn't remember where I'd heard it before. Our relationship had improved a lot since then. He often mailed me local specialties, and I sent him foreign trinkets. We kept in touch sporadically, mostly because he was always a bit distant, so I didn't want to bother him. One day, he liked an old post of mine. "First loves aren't the correct answer. They're the entire test itself." Pretending to tease him while fishing for information, I messaged, "Don't tell me you're still hung up on your first love." So pathetic. After sending it, I nervously tossed my phone aside, terrified he might say yes. After a long wait, I finally checked my phone. He had replied, "Yeah, pretty pathetic." I stared at those words, feeling my heart sink. 2 years in high school, 4 years in college, and nearly 2 years abroad, it had already been 10 years that I'd loved him. The twists and turns of all that time couldn't be summed up in a few words. I pulled myself together and calmly advised him, "As your classmate, I can only suggest you let go and start a new life. Some people are only meant to stay in certain stages of your memories. So live well, Luke. I need to let you go too, and start my own life. You'll remain only in my memories of 17. After returning home, Kristen threw me a welcome back party. Not many people came, but I still managed to drink myself into acute gastritis. Kristen rushed me to the hospital. I vaguely heard her on the phone, and it sounded like she was calling for Luke. Before long, Luke appeared in the ER wearing a white coat. The moment I saw his face, my tears started streaming uncontrollably. It felt like I hadn't seen him this close in years. Taking over from the attending physician, he carefully examined my abdomen. "Does this hurt?" I shook my head. I didn't know. Ever since he arrived, I couldn't feel pain anywhere except in my heart. Kristen noticed my pathetic state and swapped the doctor back. Luke walked out looking a bit disappointed. I felt awful, but didn't know how to tell him that it was because I liked him so much that my emotions numbed my body, affecting his diagnosis. It wasn't that I doubted his skills. The returning doctor was baffled. "Dr. Luke is one of the most promising gastroenterologists here. What's going on?" Kristen laughed it off. "Personal matters. Personal matters. Personal matters. You're not the first love everyone says Dr. Luke still pines for, are you?" the nurse asked, eyeing me curiously. "How could that be?" Kristen suddenly exploded, her pupils dilating. The nurse, startled, quickly apologized. "Sorry, I was just guessing. Please don't be upset." Realizing she'd overreacted, Kristen scratched her head awkwardly. "Don't mind me. I'm just a bit hot-tempered." The nurse nodded, and they tactfully ended the conversation. The condition wasn't too serious and didn't require hospitalization. After my IV drip and picking up my meds, Kristen and I were about to head home when we saw Luke still waiting. "Feeling better?" I smiled at him. "Much better. Let me drive you home then?" Kristen immediately tossed the medicine into Luke's arms. "You drive Jennifer back." I'm not in the mood to go around in circles. I like taking the subway. It's fast, direct, and on time. With a roll of her eyes, she hurried off. Luke helped me into his car, adjusted the seat to a comfortable angle, and even fastened my seatbelt. The whole ride was silent. Honestly, I couldn't forget him. I desperately wanted to ask if he'd forgotten his first love, or if he could ever consider me. But then, I remembered how he could talk so casually about his first love in front of me. I knew then I was never even a candidate. My courage vanished instantly. I stole a glance at him. He had grown into exactly the man I imagined at 17. Perfectly tailored shirt and slacks, refined and elegant. But sadly, he wasn't mine. When we arrived, we exchanged only polite small talk and goodbyes. 2 weeks later, our high school class president got married and invited everyone from the class group chat. Nearly everyone showed up, filling 3 full tables. By coincidence, Luke and I ended up sitting together again. The same people who used to tease us started up once more. How did you two break up, when everything was going so well? Jennifer went south where Luke always wanted to go, and Luke went north where Jennifer wanted to go. Don't tell me you weren't in love. Yeah, seriously, what happened? We shipped you two for years, and it all fell apart without so much as an explanation. Do you know how hard it was for me to accept that? I played along, joking. You guys wouldn't stop teasing us back then. We almost got labeled as having a school romance. Come on, do you even believe that yourself? Exactly. Say something already. You're killing us with curiosity. Luke, you tell us. Luke lifted his eyes to meet mine and spoke slowly. It was me. I had a one-sided crush on her for 10 years. My hand trembled as I held my phone. I looked at him in shock, trying to catch any hint that he was joking, but his expression was dead serious. On stage, the bride was giving her speech. I have no regrets. I liked Luke for 10 years, and Luke liked another girl named Jennifer Yue for 10 years. I could live without Luke, but Luke couldn't live without her. I feel lucky to have met my husband. The bride's name was Lin Yue. I couldn't listen any longer. Before my tears burst out, I rushed to the restroom and broke down crying. Before long, Kristin followed me. She let me cry for a while, then fixed my makeup and pulled me back out. Luke was waiting outside, looking a bit uneasy. Kristin whispered in my ear, "He knows everything now." She cleared her throat and said as she walked away, "You two go do whatever you need to do. I'll head back in and call you when the banquet starts." I rushed forward, threw my arms around his neck, and kissed him. He carefully wrapped his arms around my waist, deepening the kiss. Everything we had, bottled up, the longing, the heartbreak, all poured out, without words. We really almost missed each other. Back at the banquet, Kristin, with her loud voice, had already told everyone what happened. The group was all smiles, their faces full of glee. They moved our seats together, chatting and laughing. See? I'm terrible at studying, but unbeatable at gossip, never missed once. You two had me doubting myself for years. You've both been stubborn for 10 years. Seriously, it's hilarious. If only Kristin and Benjamin had argued a little more. We would have figured it out sooner. Benjamin and Kristin joked. Sorry, Kristin. Because of some idiots, I ended up taking it out on you. Yeah, same here. In the end, we're the real clowns. Luke held my hand, ignoring all the chatter. In the middle of the fun, the class president and his bride came over for a toast. The bride smiled warmly as she held up her glass and said to me, "The Jennifer I've wanted to meet since I was 17 finally here. You really are beautiful. No wonder Luke waited so many years. Also, I apologize. I just found out today that, because of me, you misunderstood him for so long, wishing you both happiness." I raised my glass and downed everything in one gulp, swallowing a mixture of pain and relief. I gently hugged her. We'll both be happy. We're both destined for happiness. In the 10th year of loving Luke, I finally became his girlfriend and started an internship at a top law firm. My dream at 17 to become a lawyer and marry Luke was finally coming true. No matter how busy we were, we always made time to see each other every day, holding hands, going on dates, hugging, kissing. We tried to make up for all the years we had lost. One weekend, while watching a movie at his apartment, he pulled out a thick photo album filled with snow scenes and historical sites. "I was going to give this to you for your birthday sophomore year, but you kicked me out." He pouted, leaning in for a kiss. That's when I realized it had been Luke who came looking for me on my birthday after I broke up with Jason. Remembering the things I said back then, I felt guilty. He must have been so heartbroken. "I'm sorry. I thought it was my ex-boyfriend and just wanted to distance myself." He pretended to be angry. "Ex-boyfriend? Didn't you have a girlfriend?" "When?" "Benjamin posted your photos together in the group. She was pretty." He pulled me onto his lap, wrapping his arms around my waist. "She wasn't my girlfriend, just a junior from my club. Benjamin posted that to mess with you." Realizing my mistake, I kissed him first. As things heated up, I looked him straight in the eyes and said, "Luke, I want to try." He froze for a few seconds, his Adam's apple bobbing. "Try what?" Without answering, I started unbuttoning his shirt. He grabbed my hand. "Baby, not yet." I pulled my hand free and unbuttoned 2 more. He didn't resist this time, smiling as he carried me into the bedroom, leaning over me. "Jennifer, I love you." Later, I often snuck over to his place using Kristen as an excuse and got teased endlessly for it. After a year of dating, during the second winter, he took me to Beijing, the city I had once loved. We visited his university and saw every historical site I had wanted to visit. He said, "When I got accepted here and found out you went south, it really hit me hard. Thankfully, Benjamin was also here, and thankfully, the clinical medicine program here was strong." I buried myself in my studies to fill the void. I suddenly felt like crying. The city he had chosen for me, where he had lived alone for 5 years. As I turned to hug him, I saw he was already down on one knee, pulling out a ring, looking at me tenderly. "Jennifer, will you marry me?" My emotions surged wildly as I nodded frantically. "Yes." He slid the ring onto my finger. "For the rest of our lives, Mrs. Luke." Staring at the ring, I couldn't hold back my excitement. "Got it, Mr. Luke." After the trip, we formally met each other's parents. When my mom found out we had lost so many years because of a name mix-up, she scolded my dad. "I told you we should have called her Lin Lei, but you insisted Lin Yue sounded better." Almost ruined 2 kids. Luke's mom smoothed things over. "Well, you could also say it was a test for them. After losing so many years, they'll only cherish each other more." We all agreed. Later, we held a grand wedding. All of our classmates came, bringing their unique blessings. "We're coming to the baby's 100-day banquet too." "Yeah, and for your 8th child too." I smiled silently, feeling so lucky that even after everything life had thrown at us, they could still laugh so freely. I hoped we would always stay this pure. At the end of the ceremony, when my dad handed me over to Luke, he cried. "I didn't." This was the boy I had dreamed of marrying since I was 17. Just thinking about marrying him and spending my life with him, I couldn't even squeeze out a single tear. Before the officiant could speak, Luke ducked under my veil and kissed me over and over. The guests cheered loudly. "Forever and always. May time be kind, and may we grow old together in love."